Yeah, your arm too. Where you?
No, right. This is how I set it up.
Okay, so
this is how we already set it up.
Okay.
Minimal, delayed, immediate on the road.
Okay.
Here you
go. Can you look at me? Open your eyes up.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the processional march. The placement of this mace by our President, Dr. James A. Zimmerl, Vice Admiral, Medical Corps, United States Navy retired, opens the 23rd commencement of the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences. This ceremony is a culmination of graduate study in which each of our students has learned to care for those in harm's way, whether it is on the battlefield or in our homeland. Good morning, honored guests, members of the Board of Regents, flag and general officers, faculty, staff, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the commencement ceremony of the Uniformed Services University class of 2002. Will you please remain standing for the presentation of the colors by the University Brigade Color Guard and for the playing of the national anthem by the President's own, the United States Marine Band, under the direction of Master Sergeant Thomas Cole, Drum Major. Please feel free to join in the singing of the national anthem. Advance the colors. retire the colors. The university's chaplain will deliver the invocation. Commander J. Stephen Evans, United States Navy.
Let us pray. O God, the giver of life and the source of all healing, we gather here today to lay the mantle of responsibility and leadership on these women and men. They have worked hard for many years to prove themselves worthy of the full honor of commissions in the corps of their respective uniformed services. We ask a special blessing that they may see the task of practicing medicine, nursing, and science as a sacred trust. Help them to embody our mission of learning to care for those in harm's way. May they preserve and increase the skills and caring they have learned throughout their careers of service. Also bless the spouses and families who stand beside them. May their support give strength and encouragement to these men and women as they go forth to be medical officers, nursing specialists, and scientists of character to serve the common good. Amen.
Please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce our Master of Ceremony, Dr. Michael Sheridan, Professor Emeritus.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank the University Brigade's Color Guard and the United States Marine Band. Today's ceremony is a formal recognition of personal achievement. In addition to our student graduates, the university will honor a number of individuals who, through their personal accomplishments, have contributed significantly to medicine and education in America. These awards are described in detail in your program. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to introduce Dr. James A. Zimble, Vice Admiral, Medical Corps, United States Navy, retired, President of the Uniformed Services University. Dr. Zimble.
Welcome, members of the F. Edward A. Baer School of Medicine and Graduate School of Nursing classes of 2002. Distinguished guests, flag and general officers, faculty, family, and friends. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our guest speaker for the class of 2002, Captain Scott Lillibridge, United States Public Health Service, Uniformed Services University, class of 1981. It is most appropriate after the tragic events of September the 11th and the threat of bioterrorism that Captain Lillibridge, Special Assistant to the Secretary of Health and Human Services on bioterrorism, has been invited to give our commencement address. You'll find Captain Lillibridge's biography on page 9 of your program. Captain Lillibridge.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, President Zimble, for that kind introduction. To all those assembled, distinguished guests and Surgeon Generals, soon to be former students and parents and guests, other guests, I must say it's certainly a pleasure to be here. It is with great awe that I look out and see what I looked at 21 years ago, thinking, what would my career be like? What would be the challenges? And I will tell you that this has never been a greater time to be graduating from medical school. Public health, doctorate, advanced nurse training. I'd like to recognize at the outset of this presentation, all the graduates of 2002, including those who have mastered their medical doctorate, studies in advanced doctorate degrees, MPH, and certainly nursing students who have attained advanced degrees in anesthesia, public health, and clinical services. Who would have appreciated in 1977, when I arrived 25 years ago, that we'd have such a rich group of health graduates? I would like to state for the record that I have had one of the most interesting and sensational medical careers any graduate could imagine. The university has given me the opportunity to work in places like distant refugee camps, to the inner halls of the Department of Health and Human Services with Secretary Thompson and his staff, often in the service of population in harm's way. Of late, I have grappled with the health issues associated with maintaining our national security, those being events ranging from the Oklahoma City bombing to the recent anthrax attacks against the United States. And I have learned much about the intersection between national security and health from riding the dusty roads of failed nations plagued by civil war and from attending the needs of developed countries like Japan following the sarin gas attack. I remarked the other day that my CV read like a compendium of exotic tattoos from a sailor of one of the great fleets of the last century. I have certainly traveled to the distant outposts, troubled spots throughout the world, and my name has been associated with disaster response so often I'm surprised anybody invites me anywhere. But I'm glad to be here and share this day with you. Many things have changed since I was dispatched into the world from this fine university. As I approach my 50 years, my semi-centennial, the USU instructors and students look somehow younger than they did when I was in your position. However, the main point I want to talk about today, and I want to emphasize, is the quality of our health and medical infrastructure within the uniformed services and our private sector has become strategically important to the readiness of this nation in a way that I had not imagined when I graduated some 22 years ago. Key to appreciating the recent turn of events are three critical activities going on as we speak. First, this nation is at war. This will be a long war, according to the President. Gauging from my previous experience in the Gaza, the West Bank, civil wars throughout the world, this will not be a short event. It will shape our careers for some time to come. The war against terrorism will be fought in many fronts. Second thing shaping your career as you go forth is that we're in the biggest bioscience revolution of medical science than I can imagine. From the time that I graduated to the time now, the pace of medical research and science has accelerated beyond belief. There are new tools of diagnostics that we talk about on a daily basis that didn't even exist when I graduated. They shape how we conduct our business. Engineering resistance, altering genetic codes, targeting certain ethnic populations. It's all possible through biologic science now. It took the Manhattan Project about 3.5 years to go from a concept to an atomic bomb in the radiation or nuclear era. It took 30 years to build the non-proliferation, the nuclear emergency support teams, the kinds of infrastructure in controlling that, and the kinds of arms agreements that kept that in the bottle for the next 30 years. It took about 2 decades to build that. I suspect that in the biosciences, we will have our work cut out for us to try to control and harness the energy of bioscience in the future. Third thing that's happened, of course, is this nation has sustained a bioterrorism attack on the homeland. There is great concern that more attacks will be visited on this country. If you saw the Thursday's episode of Emergency Room, ER, you will get an idea what a smallpox battle on the home front might look like. As we begin to prepare for this, our health officers will all need to remain on high alert. As a consequence, the Department of Health and Human Services alone has spent this year $3 billion in preparedness. That doesn't count the Department of Defense spending, FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Department of Justice. This nation is mobilizing financially and professionally in a way it never imagined it would on the home front for bioscience preparedness. This is bigger in scope than somebody mentioned the Apollo project. Well, I will tell you, this is more than an Apollo project. It's more like a mission to another solar system in terms of complexity and scope. Consequently, I believe that the national security must be addressed in a new way in this new era. This endeavor will shape your careers more than any other list of graduates. The survival of whole populations, I believe, are at stake with this new kind of targeting of our vulnerabilities in our health sector And it's graduates like you learning how to take care of people in harm's way that I think will make a difference as we begin to make new structures and you move through your careers. I'd like to borrow a quote from Winston Churchill at another commencement address in 1946 at Westminster College in Missouri, when he stated that the United States stands at this time at the pinnacle of world power. It is a solemn moment for American democracy, for with the primacy of power is also joined an awe-inspiring accountability of the future. Now, he specifically was talking about the evolving Iron Curtain at that time and the need for structures to prevent war. Well, and an accountability to the future to work towards prevention of those two things. Well, the Iron Curtain has fallen, but unfortunately, permanent structures to prevent war, terrorism have not flourished so readily. I am alluding specifically to the accountability to our future in this changing world of world threats. It is time to consider how best to protect the health of our military and civilian populations against the new and emerging threats to our collective security, specifically to address the issue of the deliberate spread of disease as weapons against our population. Let me contrast what has been done for the defense of the United States from conventional threats to what could be done in response to specific threats to the health security of our population. In conventional terms, we talk about air superiority. We talk about command of the seas and the need to maintain an aggressive ground force. On the health security side of the equation, it is only recently that we have begun to see the need for an expanded health infrastructure, new forms of medical readiness, and the organizational changes needed to deal with the health security threats of the United States. Individual programs to address these issues include the expansion of bioresearch, biologic terrorism preparedness programs at the state and local level, and teams like the Biologic Emergency Support Team. To my surprise, and I dream of the future like, use a quote from Thomas Jefferson, who wrote a letter in 1816 to Mr. Adams. I'd rather dream of the future than to review the past or dream of the past. While I think it's important to remember the lessons of history, I will tell you that I am beginning to more dream and think of healthcare as a line responsibility rather than a support role or a logistics task, and that I believe the changes have come with this generation of health graduates. Developed nations must be able to strategically apply the health sciences towards the goal of shoring up the nation's health security. As an antidote for the four horsemen of the apocalypse, war, famine, plague, pestilence, I can think of four guiding principles to address the health security vulnerabilities of this nation that will shape your career. All of these principles are encompassed and somewhat the specific focus of the training of this university, and they will shape your career. They are service, science, humanitarian assistance, and leadership. They are the four pillars of health security in the future. You have been well trained. Let me mention service, how things may change. I think medical care and public health services for our uniformed services in battle or in garrison are vital to conserving the fighting strength and remain a priority. Your presence here in uniform signifies a commitment to this team and to your nation, and I salute you. However, we have much to do globally to ensure health security of the United States. There's as much to do as there was for the Roman engineers at the time of the Roman Empire to build the enduring structures that still remain today throughout what was the known world at that time. The aqueducts, the amphitheaters, the roads, in this case, the health and medical infrastructure that will guide us into the future. For example, new service requirements attendant with maintaining our health security include addressing the devastation of AIDS in Africa, dengue fever moving into the southern United States, and our national bioterrorism preparedness efforts that encompass all the services in all our state and local health departments. CDC alone, not to count the vast DoD deployments in progress, CDC alone has officers who work in 80 countries, who work in all 50 states each year. Throughout this world at this time, your colleagues are working on dusty trails, taking care of troops in Afghanistan, all the way to the research, complex research in Thailand, looking at the cutting edge of biologic science. It is no surprise that former USU graduates are now positioned throughout the service, from Special Forces commands in Fort Bragg to the Office of the Vice President. And yes, there is a Timbuktu. I've been there and we've actually still worked there. An enormous preparedness effort is unfolding nationally. There's training for clinical awareness, surveillance of disease, and laboratory detection. The ability to work together as part of a larger workforce requires cooperation in spirit as well as deed. The events of September 11th have confirmed the fact that the Uniformed Services, medical and public health entities must work together. Let me give you some advice as I look around. I reach out and touch other USU graduates every day in other services. They range from work in the intelligence community to hospital command to clinical services. My advice to you, based on my years of experience, is hang together, trust your colleagues, and stay in contact. The prize is larger than you think, and those most likely to share this burden with you for the long haul are already seated beside you. Let me turn to science. Specifically, health sciences will be the key to responding to the major threats facing our health security in this century. If you don't understand the science and technology behind decision-making, you will not be able to participate in the leadership in the future. For example, in addition to threats from bioterrorism, emerging infectious disease challenges us. AIDS, Ebola, West Nile virus, and non-infectious environmental threats continue to challenge the health and medical community and demands more attention. New research into vaccines, medications, and laboratory tests will be required to fully prepare our medical responders. Just to resurrect the extinct vaccine against smallpox, we had not been manufacturing that for 25 years. Took an enormous amount of health and medical leadership that ranged from assistance and indemnification from the White House to the budget office, to the science of NIH, to collaboration with the Armed Forces vaccine activities. This was a tremendous undertaking that collapsed the development of a vaccine from a 7-year timeline into about a 6-month timeline. That was a success, but I will tell you what lays on the horizon is the need to do that 100 times a year in different areas, in different ways, to safeguard the health security of this nation. Let me mention humanitarian assistance. It is noteworthy that my path in humanitarian service and disaster response, that I have crossed the paths, the wakes of the 3 current Surgeon Generals of the military and the acting Surgeon General of the Public Health Service. It will affect your career. The fact of the matter is that you will be called into service for stricken populations at home and abroad during your career. In my personal opinion, it is right to do so. These are valuable deployments. We learn quite a bit. They provide service and position the United States well in the eyes of the world community. But they also buy critical time for stricken populations until a permanent political solution to war can take root. I will tell you, in the service of Civil War-stricken populations, it is always the civilian populations that take the brunt of warfare. Disease, famine, starvation. The remedy is medical and public health services once the combatants have stabilized the area. Lastly, in the field of humanitarian assistance, let me say that if I'm ever graded at anything at the end of my days, let it be on the lives saved in the service of my country, allies, potential friends, and those enemies who we're trying to convert to become our allies. Lastly, leadership. In pulling these elements of service, science, and humanitarian assistance together, the issue of health leadership will be paramount. During the Civil War, it took a while to shake out and figure out who would be the leaders to take the Union to victory. Fortunately, or unfortunately, it took a few years and a few battles. Apparently, the South had first choice, depending on your view of history. If we are to build a high-capacity national disaster medical system that can adjust to all these new medical and public health threats and play a dominant role in protecting the health security of our nation, we will need to expand this effort and increase participation by the Air Force, Army, Navy, Public Health, Department of Veterans Affairs, and academic medical centers and public health departments of this nation. Your leadership will be needed to expand this capacity to meet these new threats. Decisions on how best to protect our population from health threats involve incredibly complex discussions. For example, just the issue of smallpox alone. Do we vaccinate our population now, or do we wait till the appearance of smallpox? These are incredibly difficult decisions. We do not take this lightly, as the price tag for smallpox vaccine soars to nearly $1 billion. Anyway, your leadership will be needed to guide decisions like that 1,000 times in your career. The evolving diaspora, or gap between our nation's need for health security and our nation's organizational ability to deal with these complex issues across many agencies and government is daunting. Your leadership in these institutions will be critical to close this gap. There will be nothing short of the organizational changes in the practice of health and medical pursuits than it was that took us from an organizational shift from the Army Air Corps into a modern-day Air Force. You'll be part of those changes. I'd like to close towards the end and borrow a few words again from Winston Churchill. And I would like to say that for those of us on the line who are working today, we are stretched thin. We are responding to the needs of war. We have people in the four corners of the world. We have people in active deployments today, and somewhere health and medical units are departing to respond to either the needs of battle or to stricken populations. That's happening today as we speak. We're moving. We are stretched, and we are strapped and spread thin. To borrow some words from Winston Churchill, at a time in 1941 when Britain was pushed against the wall, stretched thin, and he desired to motivate the population, I will say, this is our finest hour. This is your finest hour. The health security of the United States is at stake. Our population is frightened, and you, in fact, are the new centurions of the opening struggle for the health security of this nation. You are the engineers who will build the system, you are the scientists who will conquer disease, and you are the leaders who will manage this new system. I am deeply pleased to pass the torch to you, and thank you for sharing this day with me. Thank you.
Two recipients have been chosen to receive the University Medal today. Dr. Zimble will present the University Medal first to Captain Scott Lillibridge. Dr. Zimble.
Scott R. Lillibridge, Captain, United States Public Health Service, is a superlative public servant and international citizen. After nearly 8 years in the United States Army, serving as an enlisted medic and environmental science officer, he matriculated at the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, graduating with honors in the class of 1981. In the more than 20 years since graduation, he completed training in family medicine, trained and worked as a practitioner in the Indian Health Service, as an epidemic intelligence officer for the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, and then served as the medical epidemiologist for Disaster Assessment and Epidemiology Section, National Center for Environmental Health. In this role, he was thrust into national leadership during crises, including Operation Desert Shield, a mass migration of Haitians with the immigrants ultimately housed at Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, hurricane disasters in the United States, several Midwestern floods, tornadoes, and the Oklahoma City bombing. Internationally, he represented the CDC in Japan following the sarin gas attack in the Tokyo subway, consulted on landmine injury and prevention in Pakistan, and performed mortality reviews of famines in Somalia and Kenya. He conducted public health service emergency responses and training in countries throughout the world, including Bangladesh, Congo, Cuba, Egypt, India, Israel, Palestine, Japan, Kenya, Liberia, Mexico, Pakistan, Rwanda, Saudi Arabia, Switzerland, Tanzania, and Thailand. Recently, he served in important administrative positions for the CDC and Public Health Service, working on issues of global health, disaster preparedness, bioterrorism preparedness, and most recently was appointed as Special Assistant to the Honorable Tommy Thompson, Secretary of Health and Human Services, regarding national security and emergency management, a task necessary after the recent terrorist attack use of anthrax. Captain Lillibridge's distinctive, tireless national and international service and leadership represent an extraordinary example of public service for every USU graduate. Thank you to a distinguished alumni.
Dr. Zimble will next present the University Medal to Dr. Dale Smith, Chair of the Department of Medical History. Dr. Smith's citation for the University Medal can be found on page 10 of the program.
Dr. Smith, you have distinguished yourself throughout 20 years of exemplary service to this university as a superlative teacher, mentor, and scholar of the history of medicine and science, and as a department administrator. You are foremost a charismatic teacher of medical and military history and culture. Beyond teaching, your personal imprint is evident in virtually every area of academic life in the School of Medicine, Graduate School of Nursing, and the university. Your contributions redefining scholarship and revising the university's appointment, promotion, and tenure instruction were critical in rewarding faculty scholars for their contributions. You have been actively involved in graduate program and medical school curriculum review and reform, faculty development, self-study, and successful accreditation and reaccreditation of the Uniformed Services University and its schools. You assisted with the development of new graduate programs in medical history and military applied physiology, and provided the leadership for developing guidelines for creating the new university archives. On behalf of this university, it is my privilege to recognize you and present you with our University Medal.
Two recipients have been selected to receive the second annual presentation of the Carol Johns Medal. A description of the medal can be found in the front of your program. Mr. Everett Alvarez, Chair of the University's Board of Regents, and Dr. Linda Porter, Faculty Senate President, will present the medals. The Carol Johns Medal is presented first to Dr. Rosemary Bork, Professor of Anatomy, Physiology, and Genetics. Dr. Bork's biography can be found on page 13 of the program. Dr. Bork, would you come forward, please?
Dr. Rosemary Bork, your research program benefited public health through an enhanced understanding of peripheral nerve reinnervation. Your dedication to improving the quality of student education has benefited thousands of medical and graduate students at the Uniformed Services University. Your devotion to excellence in teaching led to innovative design and change of preclinical courses you directed. Your tireless efforts to improve the academic program led to successful integration of the first-year medical school curriculum. Your outstanding service to several university committees and the creation of development programs for teaching faculty helped to improve the welfare of the faculty and inspired them to excel. On behalf of the Board of Regents and the USU faculty, it is my distinct pleasure to bestow upon you the Carol J. Johns Medal.
Dr. Val Hemming, Colonel, United States Air Force, Medical Corps, retired, Dean of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, will also receive the Carol Johns Medal today. His biography can be found on page 12 of the program. Dr. Hemming?
Dr. Hemming, your efforts to improve the academic program led to an improved and integrated curriculum and the conceptualization and creation of the National Capital Area Medical Simulation Center. Your excellence in research led to innovative and life-saving treatments for preterm infants. The nurturing and exemplary leadership you gave as chairman of the Department of Pediatrics and as dean of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine has provided inspiration for the faculty to excel. Dr. Hemming, your dedication has helped to earn and maintain the reputation of excellence, which USU holds throughout the military and the entire academic community. On behalf of the Board of Regents and the USU faculty, it is my distinct privilege and honor to present you the Carol J. Johns Medal.
On April the 25th, the university community recognized and celebrated Dr. Hemming's 4 decades of service to military medicine. Today, Dr. Hemming's participation in commencement is his last official duty before stepping down as Dean of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine and becoming Dean Emeritus. Captain Larry W. Laughlin, Medical Corps, United States Navy, Chair of the Department of Preventive Medicine and Biometrics, has been selected to succeed Dr. Hemming as Dean. Would you come forward, please? Dr. Hemming? Dr. Hemming will now pass on the symbol of this unique medical school. Traditionally, each new dean receives this flak jacket as an accoutrement to the office from the outgoing dean. This symbolizes the target that the new dean becomes for faculty, students, and staff. Wear this in good health, Dean Laughlin. Let me also acknowledge at this time a Dean Emeritus who is here in our audience and honors us today with her presence, Dean Nancy Gary. Thank you so much for coming today.
Ladies and gentlemen, please turn to page 14 in your programs. 3 recipients have been chosen to receive honorary degrees. Dr. Zimbel will present the Doctor of Military Medicine honoris causa to the Honorable Lonnie Bristow. Dr. Bristow, will you please step forward?
Dr. Lonnie Bristow, the Uniformed Services University of the Health Sciences is truly the beneficiary of your outstanding career. You brought both your Naval Submarine Service experience and a lifetime of dedicated medical experience to your appointment as Chair, Board of Regents. For well over a decade, you were a driving force in the American Medical Association, culminating with your term as President of that association. You were elected to the Institute of Medicine, National Academy of Sciences, and contributed to its landmark report on medical errors. Your commitment to improving the nation's health is further illustrated by your untiring efforts to keep young people tobacco-free and to emphasize drug treatment and prevention. Health in America has improved through your efforts. As Chair, Board of Regents, you engaged the university in intellectual discussions across the full spectrum of medical education. Your inclusive style of leadership encouraged and challenged board members and university staff towards helping the university achieve its vision. You chartered a groundbreaking project in performance measures to determine the success of USU students and graduates, initiated the board's annual report to the Secretary of Defense, and championed university efforts to recruit underrepresented minority students and faculty. For your contributions to American medicine and this university, your nation's health sciences university takes great pride in awarding you the degree of Doctor of Military Medicine honoris causa.
Bristow, remarks.
Thank you very much. I'll just take a moment of your time to say this is a great honor, one that in my wildest dreams I never expected to acquire. And I accept it really on behalf of my fellow members of the Board of Regents. because all of the wonderful things that you heard the President mentioning could not possibly have been done without the participation of a number of very talented and committed men and women who are your Board of Regents. And I'd like to take just a moment to share with some of you in the audience, what does a Board of Regents do? Well, frankly, we are a direct line of accountability. You've heard that word earlier today. We are a direct line of accountability to the Secretary of Defense and through the administration to you, the public, to assure that the quality of medical education these fine young men and women receive is the best that your government can give them. That's what we do. And that, to me, has always been an extraordinary challenge, which each member of the board has shared. How do we do that? Well, it's always reminded me of a story that's told about Admiral William Bull Halsey, that during the World War II, he was engaged in a battle at the Battle of the Corals, the Battle of Leyte Gulf, and his fleet was badly outnumbered. As it turns out, they were able to prevail. But during the course of that battle, he was standing on the bridge of his flagship carrier, and wave after wave of young men were taking off to attack the enemy at that time. And his executive officer turned to him and said, "Admiral, where does the nation get such extraordinary men?" And Halsey never paused a beat. He turned and said, "There are no extraordinary men, my boy. There are only extraordinary times to which ordinary men must rise." You and I and your Board of Regents and all of the faculty and all of the students here, we are ordinary men and women. But our nation has entered another period of extraordinary times as of September 11th of last year. And like generations of Americans before us, we will rise to meet them. Thank you very, very much.
Dr. Zembel will present the Doctor of Science in Military Nursing honoris causa to Dr. Faye G. Abdullah, Rear Admiral, United States Public Health Service, retired, founding dean and professor, University Graduate School of Nursing. Dr. Abdullah's biography is on page 16 of your program. Dr. Abdullah, please come forward.
Faye Glenn Abdullah, nurse, educator, researcher, an internationally recognized leader. You have devoted your extraordinary professional career to ensuring quality health care for the uniformed services and our nation. As the first nurse to hold the rank of Rear Admiral Upper Half and the title of Deputy Surgeon General of the United States, your incredible leadership abilities have resulted in truly remarkable accomplishments. The development of the first tested coronary care unit, which saves thousands of lives, 84 professional and academic honors, and 11 honorary degrees, all recognizing your innovative work in nursing research and health care, and the authorship or co-authorship of 152 publications, some translated into 6 languages, which have altered nursing theory and practice. As a renowned expert in health policies related to long-term care, mental retardation, the developmentally disabled, aging, hospice, and AIDS, your pioneering contributions have improved our nation's health. Your wisdom, knowledge, judgment, leadership skills, integrity, and dedication have led to the successful founding of the Graduate School of Nursing, now described as a model in advanced nursing education, practice, and scholarship. The GSN, recently reaccredited and recognized as a cutting-edge program, has already graduated almost 200 uniquely qualified and certified advanced practice nurses for the uniformed services. In recognition, we take great pride in awarding you the degree of Doctor of Science in Military Nursing honoris causa. I need to let this audience know that Dr. Abdallah also will be leaving as the Dean of the Graduate School of Nursing and will become Dean Emeritus. This is not her last official act. She has at least 10 more days, I believe, before she's done. And of course, she stays with us long after that. Naturally, since she is in a kinder and more gentler of the species of health professional, she needs to hand over no flak jacket.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez, President Zimble, I thank you sincerely for this great honor. I share this award with the GSN faculty and our terrific students. I love the USU Graduate School of Nursing and will look forward with great pride as GSN advances to becoming a premier school. Thank you very much.
Dr. Zimble will present the degree Doctor of Military Medicine and Surgery, honoris causa, to Dr. William Blaisdell. His biography can be found on page 18 of your program. Dr. Blaisdell.
William Blaisdell, physician, scholar, researcher, innovator, and friend. Your lifetime in the service to the cause of medicine and the plight of those in need of care has served as the very model of those qualities we seek to instill in our students as they embark on their careers of service to our nation. You have the unique ability to formulate an innovative approach to a medical problem and then masterfully craft a solution that can be adopted on a global basis. This attribute earned you world recognition and saved countless lives when you established one of the first trauma centers. You are known as the father of the Trauma Center program, yet to our university, you are known by the title Friend of Military Medicine. Your clinical research includes shock, organ failure system, and coagulopathies following injury. You are credited with doing the first extra anatomical bypass procedure. Even with so many firsts next to your name, you have never forgotten the medical student. You have always given of your valuable time to ensure that those who follow you will be well prepared to do what is necessary to fulfill their solemn oath to help those in need. You have devoted countless hours to the development of this university. You have devoted your life to medicine, your students and patients, and have not once thought of self. Your university today, with great pride and enormous gratitude, recognizes you with our highest recognition, that of the degree of Doctor of Military Medicine and Surgery, honoris causa.
Thank you, President Zimble. I wish to thank the military for what they've done for me, all the fine people I've encountered. First, as a Destroyer Division medical officer. Secondly, a chance to relate with an outstanding group of surgical residents at Letterman, Oak Knoll, and David Grant Medical Center. And finally, to relate to the medical students at this university. It's been a real privilege for me to work with you. Thank you very much.
We now proceed to recognize the graduates of the university's Graduate School of Nursing. I'm pleased to again introduce Rear Admiral Retired Faye Abdallah, Founding Dean of the Graduate School of Nursing. At this time, Dr. Abdallah, Dr. Zimble, and Mr. Alvarez are joined by Mr. Edward P. Wyatt, Jr., Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Health Affairs. Lieutenant Colonel Karen Gausman, Commandant of the Graduate School of Nursing, will announce the awards.
On behalf of the Graduate School of Nursing, I am honored to present the Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the family nurse practitioner programs.
A description of these awards can be found on page 2 in your program. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the Family Nurse Practitioner Program is presented to Lieutenant Commander Dominic Westcamp, United States Public Health Service. Lieutenant Commander Westcamp, please step forward.
On behalf of the Graduate School of Nursing, I am honored to present the Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the Nurse Anesthesia Program.
The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Student Award for the Nurse Anesthesia Program is presented to Captain Mary Jo Burley, United States Air Force Nurse Corps. Captain Burley, please come forward. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Military Faculty Award is presented to Lieutenant Colonel Marjorie Graziano, United States Air Force Nurse Corps. Lieutenant Colonel Graziano, please step forward. The Graduate School of Nursing Outstanding Civilian Faculty Award is presented to Janice Agazio, Doctor of Nursing Science. Dr. Agazio, please step forward.
I now introduce Captain Curtis Aberle, United States Army. Captain Aberle will present the Graduate School of Nursing class farewell address.
Members of the Board of Regents, Dr. Zimble, Dean Abdella, Dean Hemming, Surgeons General, distinguished guests, staff, faculty, graduates, friends, and family. It is my honor and privilege to represent the Graduate School of Nursing class of 2002. On behalf of the nurse practitioners and nurse anesthetists, I wish to express our heartfelt appreciation to our families, not only for supporting us during graduate studies, but in our military careers as well. We owe a great deal of our success to you, and we are glad that you are here to celebrate with us. To the staff and faculty of the Graduate School of Nursing, simple words of thanks are not enough to express our gratitude for the education you have provided us. You have given us the knowledge to be successful and the clinical experience to make us more than competent. To my classmates, my friends, thank you for making my job as your class president an easy one. I congratulate you, I wish you continued success, and I will miss you. I would also like to congratulate all the graduates here today. We look forward to working with you and wish you well in your careers. We leave here today ready to return to our services, which are increasingly engaged in the war against terrorism. We are told it'll be a long, hard-fought battle. Today I submit to you that as healthcare providers, we are always at war against illness and disease. Our mission is always the same, caring for patients. It's only the location and the degree of safety that differs. Our battlefield is not limited to deserts or mountain ranges. It includes the clinics, laboratories, and operating rooms in which we work. The uniformed services and the United States taxpayer should be very proud of our university. It has trained us to be effective officers, soldiers, sailors, and airmen who are ready to care for those in harm's way. We leave here faced with a nationwide nursing shortage. In a recent newsletter to Army Nurse Corps officers, we were told we all need to be recruiters. Today, I extend that invitation to everyone. We need to be recruiters and educate the public about the dynamic scope of the nursing profession. Advanced practice nurses will play an important role in the future of nursing. We have the unique ability and opportunity to educate the public about the important role nurses have in clinical practice, education, administration, and research. Finally, I would like to express our gratitude to Dr. Abdallah, the founding dean of the Graduate School of Nursing. Thank you for your leadership in planning and organizing the GSN over the past 9 years. Your vision of a premier nursing school has become a reality. From the report of our recent accreditation visit, we are a model for all graduate schools of nursing. We wish you well in your retirement. Thank you.
At this time, Dr. Abdallah, Dr. Zembel, and Mr. Alvarez will present the Graduate School of Nursing class of 2002.
Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty of the Graduate School of Nursing, I recommend to you that the degree of Master of Science in Nursing be conferred on 25 individuals.
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, Graduate School of Nursing, I hereby confer the degree of Master of Science in Nursing on 25 individuals.
The following graduates are receiving the Master of Science in Nursing as nurse practitioners. Captain Curtis Aberley, United States Army. Major Kenneth Bethards, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Gerald Boyle, United States Navy. Captain Patricia Coburn, United States Army. Captain Paul Hess, United States Army. Captain Denise Lyons, United States Army. Captain Angelo Moore, United States Army. Captain Andrew Powell, United States Army. Major Richard Pryor, United States Army. Major David Seifert, United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel Adoracion Sorio, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Dominic Westcamp, United States Public Health Service. The next group of graduates will receive the Master of Science in Nursing as nurse anesthetist. Captain Carla Atchley, United States Air Force. Captain Tawny Banks, United States Air Force. Captain Mary Jo Burley, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Eric Klein, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Daniel Friends, United States Public Health Service. Captain Michelle Gauthier, United States Air Force. Captain Annie Hall, United States Air Force. First Lieutenant Michael Neal, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Select Robert Poley, United States Navy. Captain Bradley Richardson, United States Army. Captain Lance Scott, United States Army. Captain Bruce Todd, United States Air Force. Captain Ronald Wyatt, United States Air Force. We will now proceed to recognize the graduates of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine. I am pleased to reintroduce the Dean of the School of Medicine, Dr. Val Hemming, Colonel, United States Air Force, retired.
37.
Page 37, Val.
The F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine graduate program is proud to announce the School of Medicine's Outstanding Biomedical Graduate Educator Award. A full description of the award may be found on page 3 of your program. The recipient of this year's award is Dr. Regina Armstrong, Director, Neuroscience Program. Would Dr. Armstrong please come forward? Each year during the ceremony, the university recognizes a School of Medicine graduate program student who has contributed to the university in meaningful ways. And it is with pleasure that I present the Uniformed Services University Graduate Student Service Award to Sarah Newman, Department of Preventive Medicine and Biometrics. The award description can be found on page 3 of your program. Ms. Newman, please come forward.
The Henry M. Jackson Foundation has generously provided a fellowship and travel support for an outstanding graduate student during the final year of his or her program of study at the Uniformed Services University. The fellowship is awarded annually to a university graduate student who's expected to complete all requirements for his or her doctorate in sufficient time to participate in this commencement ceremony. We're pleased to acknowledge the participation of the Henry Jackson Foundation and appreciate its support of the University's School of Medicine's graduate education program. The recipient of this year's Foundation Fellowship is Ms. Sarah Newman, who's standing before you. Sarah, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Newman, our double honoree, will present the graduate student farewell address. Sarah?
Thank you, Dr. Sheridan. President Zimble, distinguished deans and faculty, honored guests, family and friends, and my fellow students. What a thrill and honor it is for me to stand before you today as the representative of the master's and doctoral degree students in the biological and biomedical programs of the School of Medicine. Today, 15 doctoral degrees and 35 master's degrees will be awarded. And whether a student invested 1 year or 7 years toward this degree, he or she faced equally rigorous challenges at USU. Our university provides one of the most demanding and stimulating graduate educations available in the field of biomedical sciences and public health. Anyone who peeks into the workings of our university for just a day would be struck by the breadth and volume of activity being conducted in any one of our 11 graduate programs. A quick view of just our dissertation topics alone provides a view of the cutting-edge research being conducted by our students. From research in spinal cord regeneration, to remote sensing in malaria control, to occupational injuries in correctional workers. And beyond our campus, our graduate students have also shown their ability to put their training into practice under very urgent circumstances. Because of our state-of-the-art chemical detection system, several specially trained students and faculty were sent to the Pentagon after the September 11th attack. They helped determine when air quality was safe enough for rescue efforts to begin. And through the combined efforts of a number of our graduate programs and departments, USU faculty are training our graduate students to deal with the most terrifying public health facing our nation: bioterrorism and chemical warfare. The degrees we will soon very proudly display on our homes, our walls of our homes and offices, will serve as constant reminders of us, or to us. We will remember the many hours, very late into the evening, we spent in laboratories, whether conducting microscopic research in an entomology lab or writing a logistic regression program in a computer lab. We will remember the pungent smells that emanate into our hallways from the anatomy labs, the animal sciences, microbiology, for example. A glance up at our diplomas might trigger a memory of our walking into the open door of one of our faculty to receive a hand on a challenging problem in, say, genetics or biostatistics. But more than the memories they trigger, the degrees we display will serve as symbols of the awesome responsibility and challenges we now face. We in the fields of biosciences have the potential to directly impact millions of lives through our research, our teaching, and our policy decisions. The degree on our wall marks the culmination of only one stage of our learning and an entry into another. As we put into practice the tools and knowledge we have gained, we will keep in mind our limitations, always striving to conduct our work with the highest integrity. Whenever possible, we will use an interdisciplinary approach to help us accomplish our tasks and solve problems that face us. Our greatest challenge is to maintain the high standards of this university throughout our careers. On behalf of the graduate students, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to the USU faculty and administrators for their dedication to us. I would also like to thank our families who have supported us, believed in us, and allowed us to reach great heights. Thank you very much.
At this time, Dr. Cinda Helke, Associate Dean for Graduate Education, will present the graduates of the Uniformed Services University F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine's graduate programs. Dr. Zembel, Dr. Hemming, and Mr. Alvarez will confer the degrees.
Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree of Master of Public Health be conferred on 25 individuals.
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and dean, F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I confer the degree Master of Public Health with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Lieutenant Gary Carter, United States Public Health Service. Captain John Completo, United States Army. Captain Scott Eder, United States Army. Right. Dr. Michael Feuerstein. Captain Joseph Flynn, United States Army. Thank you, Rich. Dr. Maria Thomas Fuentes. Dr. Michael Feuerstein. Lieutenant Colonel Michael Hartzell, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Hemmer, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Commander Brian Rock, United States Public Health Service. Lieutenant Commander Eric Kozowski, United States Navy. Captain Natalie Keeler, United States Air Force. Captain Joyce Lapa, United States Navy. Captain Keegan Lyons, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Paul Mayer, United States Public Health Service. Lieutenant Commander Charles McCannon, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Michael Meyer, United States Navy Reserve. Captain Helena Mishu, United States Public Health Service. Major Len Murray, United States Army. Major Jose Ortiz, United States Army. Major James Sheehan, Jr., United States Army. Commander Astrid Seto, United States Public Health Service. Captain Ting Tai, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Vanita Thornton, United States Public Health Service. Lieutenant Ian Torrey, Canadian Forces. Commander Andrew Vaughn, United States Navy Reserve. Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program, the Dean of School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree of Master of Science in Public Health be conferred on 2 individuals. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon recommendation of the faculty and Dean, F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I confer the degree Master of Science in Public Health with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Will the candidates please come forward? Captain Tara Hall, United States Army. Major Gregory Kim, United States Army. Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree Doctor of Public Health be conferred on 4 individuals. Will the candidates please arise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States and upon recommendation of the faculty and Dean F. Edward Aber School of Medicine, I confer the degree Doctor of Public Health with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Will the candidates please come forward? Go ahead. Lieutenant Commander David Claiborne, United States Navy. Doctor of Public Health. Captain Timothy Kluczynski, United States Army, Doctor of Public Health. Elizabeth Maloney, Doctor of Public Health. Sarah Newman, Doctor of Public Health. Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty of the graduate program and the Dean of the School of Medicine, I recommend to you that the degree Doctor of Philosophy be conferred on 6 individuals. Will the candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States and upon recommendation of the faculty and Dean F. Edward Aber School of Medicine, I confer the degree Doctor of Philosophy with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Will the candidates please come forward? Hong Kui, Department of Anatomy, Physiology, and Genetics, Doctor of Philosophy. Holly Helene Nash, Neuroscience Program, Doctor of Philosophy. Casey Skvor, Department of Medical and Clinical Psychology, Doctor of Philosophy. Angel Soler Garcia, Department of Microbiology and Immunology, Doctor of Philosophy. George Alexander Steer, Department of Anatomy, Physiology, and Genetics, Doctor of Philosophy. Louise Teal, Department of Microbiology and Immunology, Doctor of Philosophy.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now move to that portion of the ceremony devoted to the graduates who will receive the degree Doctor of Medicine. 7 graduates It's a long ceremony, but we get there. 7 graduates have won special recognition for their scholarship, professionalism, and public service. Lieutenant Commander J. Erickson, Medical Corps, United States Navy, University alumnus, and Commandant of the School of Medicine will announce the first 3 awards. The descriptions can be found on page 4 of your program.
The Board of Regents Award is the highest honor a graduating senior can receive. Ensign Christina Zavari, United States Navy, please step forward. The Society of Medical Consultants to the Armed Forces has established an award to be given annually to the class valedictorian. This year, the award is presented by the President of the Society, Dr. John Hutton, Brigadier General, United States Army, retired, to Ensign Jennifer Driscoll, United States Navy. Ensign Driscoll, please step forward. The Association of Military Surgeons of the United States Award consists of a lifetime membership in the association and a plaque. On behalf of the association, Dr. James Zimble will present the award this year to Ensign Rupa Daner, United States Navy. Ensign Daner, please step forward.
We now announce the presentation of the United States Army, Navy, and Air Force Surgeons General Awards. The Uniformed Services University faculty has selected these students for recognition of their outstanding academic performance and the exemplary manner in which they demonstrate a commitment toward enhancing the goals of the uniformed service they represent. Lieutenant General James Peake, the Surgeon General of the Army, will present the Army Surgeon General's Award. General Peake.
Y'all have seen our logo, Army of One. It talks about the importance of individual talent and excellence as we build teams in medicine and teams in our Army. And that, I think, is the spirit of this recognition, and it is my pleasure to present the United States Army Surgeon General's Award to Second Lieutenant Ramey Wilson.
On behalf of the Surgeon General of the United States Navy, Rear Admiral Kathleen Martin, Nurse Corps, United States Navy, Commander, National Naval Medical Center, will present the next award.
On behalf of Vice Admiral Cowan, it is my pleasure to present the United States Navy Surgeon General's Award to Ensign David Brett Major, United States Naval Reserve.
The Surgeon General of the United States Air Force, Lieutenant General Paul K. Carlton, United States Air Force Medical Corps, will present the next award.
It's my pleasure to present the Outstanding Surgeons Award to Lieutenant Gilbert Patino, soon to be captain within the hour, who was a captain previously, 6 years of active duty as a line officer. Gilbert, we're proud as punch of you. Thank you.
Dean Hemming will now present the William P. Clements Jr. Award and the Outstanding Civilian Educator Award. Both faculty award recipients were chosen by the graduating medical students. A full description of the awards may be found on page 6 of your program. The William P. Clements Jr. Award is presented to Major Stephen Durning, United States Air Force Medical Corps, Professor, Department of Medicine. Major Durning, please come forward. The Outstanding Civilian Educator Award is presented to Dr. Donna Wechter, Associate Dean, Medical Education. Dr. Wechter, please step forward. The Esprit de Corps Award recipient is selected annually by the members of the graduating class to recognize one of their own. The individual selected is not listed in your program because the class, by tradition, keeps it secret until this moment. This award is presented by Dr. Richard McDonald, Colonel, Medical Corps, United States Army retired, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and by Colonel John McManigal, United States Air Force Medical Corps, Assistant Dean for Clinical Sciences.
With great pleasure, the class of 2002 selects David Brett Major. Please come forward.
I now introduce the president of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine's class of 2002. As his last official act as class president, Second Lieutenant Scott King, United States Air Force, will present the medical class farewell address.
Distinguished guests, faculty, staff, and most importantly, family and friends, welcome to one of the longest graduations in the history of the Uniformed Services University. I hope all of you are comfortable and that your bladders are treating you well. It was back in August of 1998 that a group of strangers, ranging from student to sniper, several rangers, submariners, and ship drivers, cadets, travelers, a concert violinist, a refugee who escaped from Cambodia, and even an orgasmic biologist, came together to form the class of 2002. There was a lot of apprehension and curiosity, followed by utter fear after our very first lecture seemed to cover everything we learned in our undergraduate classes. We were then thrown into the funk of gross anatomy, where we quickly learned that not all men are created equal. Am I blushing? And who could forget biochemistry besides all of us? We were educated with the most masterful chalkwork ever seen in neuroanatomy and were deemed as official turd stirrers in parasitology. Finally, the year that to that date was the most difficult of our lives was over, and we were bussed down to the Marines of Quantico, where we amazed them with our shelter design and ingenuity by creating a tent city complete with all colors of tarps, lawn chairs, a white picket fence, and even a pink flamingo. A summer of fun and excitement followed the fields of Kirchner, and some of us jumped out of airplanes, rappelled from helicopters, while others proved their airworthiness while puking their ways through the skies in the back of an F-16. Then on to second year, where the single student sat perched high above like hawks, just watching and waiting for the new class to arrive. We took microbiology, made ridiculously simple. Pathology went off without a hitch, thanks to the efforts of Jason Plummer, B.A. Third year was the start of an intense 2 years of medical education. No more lectures, and best of all, no more studying, because you'll learn everything you need to know in the clinics and on the wards. Yes, life was good until that first test. Nevertheless, we stayed in shape with countless hours of retracting, perfected the delivery of the placenta, and discussed, rediscussed, and discussed some more while enjoying our medicine rotations. Preventive Medicine Week came and went, and the fourth year was begun. We racked our brains over what we wanted to do with our lives while trying at the same time to convince the program directors that's what we'd wanted to do all along. Finally, December rolled around, and many of us were pleasantly surprised, while others of us were, well, just surprised. But third and fourth year were much more than an introduction to clinical medicine. They also served as a reminder as to why we came to this school and chose to wear the uniform. Our patients stormed the beaches of Normandy, survived the surprise attack at Pearl Harbor, battled in the cold in Korea, and endured the wet jungles of Vietnam. Our patients served to defend a nation and depended on a person called Doc to keep them healthy. Furthermore, we have the privilege to see today's heroes, patients injured on the coal or others who suffered injury during combat in Afghanistan. These people are the reason we do what we do. They are the reason we serve. For many of us, there's only a year's time that separates us from being the lone doc aboard ship or the battalion aid station or as a new flight surgeon in the desert. This is when the real test will begin, and I'm confident that our training has prepared us well, and we will succeed. In the future, our training here at USUS has given us an edge, and it doesn't matter whether you're a surgeon, a pediatrician, or a psychiatrist. We are all bound by the same foundation. The foundation this university was conceived from, the knowledge to perform good medicine in bad places. In the future, bombings at Dhahran or an attack on the USS Cole will not be something we read about in the paper or hear on the news. These events will be something we are a part of. These times of crisis will be our opportunity to excel and ensure that one more soldier comes home to his family. Yes, our time here has been fast. I remember thinking this day would never come, but now I realize it was merely the blink of an eye. We've had some great times and have been through some tough times, but we're leaving here today with friends to last a lifetime. As we walk our separate ways today, know that our paths will cross again. Granted, a 7-year commitment does aid in that. We are the most recent addition to a family of physicians who ensures the health and welfare of the most advanced fighting force in the world. A force that is spread thin and defending our national interests as we sit here today. They deserve the best, and we will be able to give them that. Finally, I want the class of 2002 to know that absolutely nothing I said here today had anything at all to do with the Marshall Plan. Congratulations and aim high.
Mr. Alvarez, on behalf of the faculty and the Dean of the F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I recommend to you the degree of Doctor of Medicine be conferred on the 163 members of the 202 graduating class. Will the candidates please arise?
By virtue of the authority vested in the university by the Congress of the United States, and upon the recommendation of the faculty and Dean, F. Edward Hebert School of Medicine, I hereby confer the degree of Doctor of Medicine with its attendant privileges and responsibilities.
Dr. Hemming, the Hippocratic Oath.
Members of the class of 2002, you swore the oath of Hippocrates as you entered this medical school 4 years ago. It has guided your conduct as students of medicine. Please raise your right hand and swear it again so it may be a guide to your practice as physicians. Please repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will be loyal to the profession of medicine and just and generous to its members. That I will lead my life and practice my art in uprightness and honor. That into whatsoever home I shall enter, it shall be for the good of the sick and the well, to the utmost of my power. And that I will hold myself aloof from wrong and from corruption and from tempting of others to vice. That I will exercise my art solely for the cure of my patients and the prevention of disease. And I will give no drugs and perform no operation for a criminal purpose, and far less suggest such thing. That whatsoever I shall see or hear of the lives of any person which is not fitting to be spoken, I will keep secret. These I do promise, and in proportion as I am faithful to this oath, may happiness and good repute be ever mine.
May happiness and good repute be ever mine.
The opposite, if I shall be forsworn.
The opposite, if I shall be forsworn.
Thank you.
Graduates, please come forward. The graduating class has selected Colonel John McManigal, United States Air Force Medical Corps, Assistant Dean for Clinical Sciences, to read their names for this ceremony. Colonel McManigal, the floor is yours.
Dr. Samuel Eric Eichley. Dr. Christine B. Ajan. Dr. Andrew T. Allen. Dr. Mike L. Anderson. Dr. Jared Merlin Andrews. Dr. Jonathan L. Arnholt. Dr. Timothy Wayne Barkdahl. Dr. Ryan Alexander Bell. Dr. Michael John Benka. Dr. Kurt A. Bergstrom. Dr. Nikki Eddie Bothwell. Dr. Rebecca Ann Boucher. Dr. David Michael Brett Major. Dr. Brandon D. Brown. Dr. Eric Martin Buenvieja. Dr. Cassandra Jean McDaniel Burns. Dr. Glenn David Burns. Dr. Christian Lascelle Carlson. Dr. Giovanni Casablanca. Dr. Mark Andrew Childress. Dr. Jared Anderson Chugg. Dr. Jacob Frederick Collin. Dr. Colin Victor Crickard. Dr. John Michael Sockmay III. Ladies and gentlemen, our next degree recipient is Ensign Hugh Daner, whom we also recognize for earning a Doctor of Philosophy in Anatomy and Cell Biology during his years of study at our university, and therefore becoming an MD, PhD graduate. Dr. Hugh Michael Daner. Dr. Rupa J. Daner. Dr. Patrick Donahue Dean. Dr. Stephen Daniel DiMartini. Dr. Justin Paul Dodge. Dr. Glenn Ashton Dowling. Dr. Jennifer Culbertson Driscoll. Dr. Josh Lee Duckworth. Dr. Elizabeth Duncan. Dr. Jeremy Morgan Eager. Dr. Tracy L. Eichel. Dr. Robert L. Emery. Dr. Christopher Scott Ennin. Dr. David Escabita. Dr. Paul Michael Feistel. Dr. Dean R. Feldbaum. Gacquenet. Dr. Philip G. Geiger. Dr. Travis Wade Gerlach. Dr. Joseph S. Gundusky. Dr. Matthew Ryan Graffenberg. Dr. Ann Gray. Dr. Alan Douglas Gulke. Dr. Miguel Andres Gutierrez. Dr. Gregory Doxy Gutke. Dr. Herkethan Kaur Gaidi. Dr. Helen Seifert Hagen. Dr. Jack Donaldson Hagen. Dr. Wendy Finch Harsha. Dr. Joshua D. Hartzell. Dr. Susan Conklin Hawley. Dr. Chad S. Hendrickson. Dr. Natalie Joan Hill. Dr. Michael C. Helkram. Dr. John Anthony Hodson. Dr. David John Hoops. Dr. Arlene Joy Hudson. Dr. John Robert Hughes. Dr. Adam Lee Hewlett. Dr. Robert L. Hutton, Sr. Dr. Erica Stephanie Beard Irvin. Dr. Henry Andrew Irvin. Dr. Jonathan Clayton Jackson. Dr. Norris Jerome Jackson. Dr. Keith J. Joe. Dr. Christopher Shane Johnson. Dr. Edward Anthony Kalpas. Dr. David S. Kavar. Dr. Samir Daoud Khatri. Dr. Stephen W. Koo. Dr. Gary Sang Kim. Dr. Donald Paul Kinniston. Dr. Scott Alexander King. Dr. Jeffrey Scott Kunz. Dr. Benjamin W. Lacey V. Dr. Jeffrey Michael Lammers. Dr. Daniel Robert Lamont. Dr. Wayne A. Latack. Dr. Matthew Aaron Lottie. Dr. Mark Joseph Lenart. Dr. Paul E. Lewis III. Dr. Jeffrey D. Lightfoot. Dr. Eric Lundmark. Dr. Rod Everett Markham. Dr. Kenneth Armistice Marriott III. Dr. Bryant Robert Martin. Dr. Michael Lee McCord. Dr. Joseph Harris McDermott. Dr. Gary Edward Means. Dr. Janelle Lynn Moore. Dr. Andrew Richard Morgan. Dr. Danielle J. Mozak. Dr. David Philip Mullen. Dr. John Jacob Murdoch. Dr. Keith P. Myers. Dr. Aniceto Jose Navarro. Dr. Remington Lee Nevin. Dr. Nicholas Joseph Nochi. Dr. Sean Patrick O'Brien. Dr. Dana Renee Orvis. Dr. James Jin Park. Dr. Austin L. Parker. Dr. Brett James Partridge. Dr. Gilberto Patino, Jr. Dr. Christopher T. Perry. Dr. Lisa Adelaide Peterson. Dr. Eric Vincent Plott. Dr. David Salar Prom. Dr. Timothy M. Quast. Dr. Eric Wilhelm Ravi. Dr. Jason A. Regulus. Dr. Sharon Lorene Reinertsen. Dr. Nicole Marie Richard. Dr. Jeffrey C. Ricks. Dr. Ian C. Riddick. Dr. Jeffrey L. Robertson. Dr. John Michael Robacek. Dr. Nelson Saavedra Saldua. Dr. Christian Evan Sanchak. Dr. Paul Douglas Sargent. Dr. Trevor Jacob Shar. Dr. Carrie Ann Schmid. Dr. David Joseph Schwartz. Dr. Derek Kevin Sequist. Dr. Rosalind Wee Sim. Dr. Carl G. Skinner. Dr. Christian Gerald Smith. Dr. Wiley Joseph Smith. Dr. Anjali Natasha Sridhar. Dr. Brenda Lee Strojewski. Dr. Eric Darren Sturgill. Dr. Drew N. Swayze. Dr. Timothy Lawrence Sweetage. Dr. Camille Ann Tabor. Dr. Arlo Modalis Tan. Dr. Cecilia Mariko Tatsumi. Dr. Artin Tarakopian. Dr. Roy Frederick Thomas. Dr. Sarah Beth Thompson. Dr. Monica Jean Tillman. Dr. Justin J. Tingey. Dr. John Douglas Trask. Dr. David Lindsay Trowbridge. Dr. Marissa Mercedes Valencia. Dr. Brian M. Vandershore. Dr. Vahog Vartanian. Dr. Guy C. Venuti. Dr. Christina McRae Waite. Dr. Katrina Akers Walters. Dr. Dirk Adam Warren. Dr. Charles Suk Wang. Dr. Brian Matthew White. Dr. Eugene Kennan Wilson III. Dr. Ramey Luther Wilson. Dr. Luke Anthony Zabrocki. Dr. John Carl Zog. Dr. Christina J. Zavari.
As the last medical degree recipients left the stage, the university has graduated 3,266 medical officers to join the ranks of the United States Army, Navy, Air Force, and Public Health Service medical departments. Additionally, the School of Medicine has conferred 715 basic science degrees, including 67 Master of Science, 4 Master of Science in Public Health, 385 Masters of Public Health, 25 Masters of Tropical Medicine and Hygiene, 3 Masters of Military Medical History, 9 Doctors of Public Health, and 222 Doctors of Philosophy. The Graduate School of Nursing has conferred 170 Master of Science degrees in nursing. The United States Marine Band, the President's Own, will now play each of the service songs in the form of a service medley. According to university custom, as a gesture of camaraderie, it is appropriate for all service members to stand for the duration of the service medley. Would service members, both on the stage and in the audience, please stand together now and remain standing until the band has completed its medley. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, having received their doctoral degrees, these 163 members of the Uniformed Services University class of 2002 have turned in their academic robes and now wear their service uniforms to take their oaths as commissioned officers in their respective service. The Surgeons General or their representatives will commission the graduates in their respective branch of service. General Peake.
There were a lot of words said here today. Perhaps the most important are those that you recited with Dr. Hemming and those that you are about to recite. United States Army graduates, please stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me. I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Admiral Martin.
Congratulations to the classes of 2002, and a special thanks to the families who assisted you in achieving your goals. Our newest medical corps officers will soon be integrated into the military healthcare teams. You will be caring for those in harm's way, and you may even find yourselves there as well. As you begin your new profession of service to this great nation of ours, I pass this law of the British Royal Navy onto you. On the strength of one link in the cable dependeth the might of the chain. Who knows when you may be tested? So live that you bear the strain. United States Navy graduates, please stand. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, and state your full name. Do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, that I take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I am about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations to the newest members of the United States Navy. Welcome aboard, shipmates.
General Carlton.
I have a plaque in my office that reminds me, it shows an eagle soaring, and it says, your altitude in life is determined by your attitude. I would suggest to you that you've just become dual professionals. You are servants to the military, you are servants to medicine, and you've just been given a license to learn. And you need to remain humble, because you will be humbled by the events that transpire around you. If I could have our Air Force colleagues please stand. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your full name. Having been appointed a captain in the United States Air Force. Do solemnly swear. That I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. That I take this obligation freely. Without mental reservation. Nor purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon which I'm about to enter. So help me God. Congratulations.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the benediction and remain standing for the alma mater.
Let us pray. Almighty God, bless these graduates. May we cherish the memories of today for the good of our country and in service to those who protect it. As the tragedy of September 11, 2001 has reminded us, freedom does not automatically perpetuate itself. We must work at it, nurture it, protect it, and pray for it. We affirm that freedom, like faith, needs our attention, vigilance, and cooperation. Lord, be with us now to strengthen us, about us to keep us, above us to protect us, beneath us to uphold us, before us to direct us, behind us to keep us from straying, round about us to defend us. Blessed are you, O God, forever and ever. Amen.
The Dermatones, who are joined by members of the graduating class, will sing the school's alma mater. The lyrics can be found on page 8 of your program, the Dermatones.
Hail to thee, our alma mater, guardian of our nation's health. Help us always thee to honor and contribute to thy wealth. Wealth of knowledge, service, virtue, and compassion towards all men, as we serve the sons and daughters, sworn our country to defend. Guide us as we go forth from thee, serving on air, land, and sea. As we staunch the wounds of freedom and serve public health in peace, let thy motto be engraven in our hearts and in our minds, while devoting self to others, working for our nation's lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, as our program draws to an end, we wish to express a very special and heartfelt thanks to the military brigade personnel and university civilian staff members who reside largely behind the scenes, but are indispensable in the orchestration and execution of this most beautiful graduation ceremony. This concludes the commencement ceremony for the class of 2002. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you remain standing until the recessional is completed. Dr. Zimbel, will you please lead the recessional march?